Hey guys! Today we will build a patch from scratch using the Scorovnik sequencer from KoralFX. It's a 32-step sequencer, or two 16-step sequencers, or four 8-step sequencers. It's fun, it's intuitive, let's start! Okay, so here it is, the Scorovnik sequencer. Let's have a closer look first what we are dealing with here. So this sequencer, it has a built-in clock, as you can see here, but we can also send the clock, run it with an external clock, but we just have to make sure that this clock will be multiplied by 4, because this is the resolution of the sequencer. As you can see here, we have external clock 16. This is the resolution, the clock resolution of the sequencer. We can also transpose the sequence up and down. And this sequencer has an interesting feature actually, loops, as you can see here. And we can set a certain amount of loops. Actually, I think it's up to 128 loops, which means that a sequence will loop itself the amount of times we set. And then in the end of the loop, we will get a trigger out of the loop end outputs. And like I said, we have a 32-step sequence, but if you see, it's divided by 4. We have A, B, C, and D. And using this mode button here down, we can select how many steps we want and how many sequencers. In how many sequencers. So in this mode we have A plus B plus C plus D, so 32 steps. Then if I click it once, it goes green, and in the green mode I have A and B. So A and B is now one sequence, and C and D, so this is another sequence, so two sequencers of 16 steps each. Then if I click it once more, we have the red mode, and here we have A, B, C and D separate from one another, which means we have 4 sequencers of 8 steps each, or up to 8 steps, because we can also change the amount of steps or the length of the sequence. Here we have this nice matrix here. We have a run input for all 4 sections. So if we are using just one sequencer, 32 steps sequence, we just have to run the first input, of course. Then we have stop inputs and reset inputs. Each of them has its own button for triggering all of them together. So we have a global run, stop, and reset buttons here. And we have also a gate outputs for each sequencer. Then we have pitch information, volt per octave outputs, and this is also interesting. This sequencer, it can be unipolar or bipolar. So in the default state, it's bipolar, which means that the 0 point will be here in the middle. With those sliders, we can change the pitch. So the 0 point will be here in the middle. And we can go down in pitch and up in pitch, but if we change this to unipolar, it means that the 0 point is down. This is the 0 point, and we can just go up in pitch. And here, let me just turn this off. If we are already speaking about pitch. So here in this window on the right here, we can see the step number we are changing and the note. So this sequencer is quantized to semitones. And we can see this here. So if, for example, I want to change step number 8, so I can see A8, A is the section I'm in. So sequencer A, never mind if it's also 32 steps. Let's change this. You see we are still in A8. And now I can choose the note I want. So let's say I want F. So I can go up, but I can also go down because this is bipolar. And if we turn this back to unipolar, so the 0 is here, C, and we can just go up in pitch. So let's set this again to the center. And again, here we can see what we are changing. And also we have an audition button here down that we can activate. And when it's activated, it's also activated by default. When you change one of the sliders for the pitch, for changing the pitch, you can audition the notes and listen to the changes you are making. Okay, then we have accent outputs, so we can set each step to be an accent also, and we can do this here in the middle row here under the sliders. And then we have, and we will attach this in a second, and then we have the loop end that we saw already, and then we have a clock BPM and a clock 16 outputs, so we can sync other sequencers or other sounds or instruments with this. Again, we have the BPM clock, so this will output, in this case, 120 beats per minute, or we have clock 16, this will be multiplied by 4. And then we have external clock input, again 16th, and CV transposition input. Now let's move to this section here, and we have first row is we can choose between legato and staccato. So normal mode will be off, legato, and we can activate staccato on the steps we want, which will make the gate shorter, of course, or it will activate the retrigger actually. And then we have the middle row that we can pause the steps we don't want to play. We can set them on normal. This is not an or like I thought at start. This is normal. And this means that the sequence will just play normally. And then we can choose accents. So green it's normal, red it's an accent, and off means that it will not play on those steps, it's paused. So let's turn this back to normal. And then we have another row where we can choose normal, dotted notes, or triplets, which is also really interesting. So normal again it's off or gray, then green it's dotted notes, and then red it's triplets. Okay, and then we have another thing which is really interesting actually. We can choose the length of the notes. Now this is awesome. We have the sliders here, and you can see here on the right we have 16th notes, then we have 8th notes, 8th note. We just move the slider upwards, then we have quarter notes, half notes, and whole notes. So we can choose the length of the notes, which is excellent. And then the sequence length. So if, for example, now we have I will change the mode to green, and we have 2 sequencers of 16 steps each, but I don't want 16 steps, I want 15 steps in the second sequence. So I just move this button here and choose the number of steps I want. And when we have 2 sequencers, we can choose this independently. When we have 4 sequencers, we can, for each sequence, change a different length. Okay, and I think that's it. That was it with the overview, let's say. Very nice. Let's zoom out now and start building a patch. So I will use an external clock. Let's raise the BPM a bit. Let's say 129. Why not? By the way, you can see my face today. I'm trying something new. I thought it will be cool not to speak just to myself or to the screen actually, but to speak to you guys. I don't know. I mean, it's still a camera, but it feels different. It feels more connected. So I will give it a try. If you have anything to say about it, leave a comment. And we will see. So here I raised the BPM 129. Let's multiply the first clock by 4 and send this clock to the external clock 16 input. And let's use 4 different sequencers. So I will go to the red mode. So now we have 4 8-step sequencers. Let me just reset the number of steps here. I will close the audition. I didn't really like this feature. It confused me, but it's still nice to have. Okay, and let's run the sequencers. I will choose the global. I will click the global run here, and you can see it's already running. Let's also connect this also to the reset. So I will connect all of the sequencers to the reset input or output of the clock, so we can reset them later when we need. when we need to reset them. And now let's start adding some voices. I think I will go with the FM operators, or for now FM operator, because they have the built-in envelope, which is really easy. They sound great. I love the feedback feature. So let's do this. Let's activate the envelope for the level, which is this button here. Let's take the attack almost all the way down, because I don't want to get this click in the sound. Sustain all the way down. Let's take the first gate from section A, from sequence A, connect this to the gate input of the FM operator, and let's take the volt per octave and also connect it to the FM operator, to the oscillator, and let's build a sequence. So let's see, I will go with, so now we are on bipolar, which is okay. Let's start with D and go up to A, and from there we'll go up to D again. Then we will go down to G. Then we will go even further down to A. Then once more to D. And I think 6 steps are enough. Let's make this a 6-step sequence, but I don't want to finish on D, I want to finish on C. Let's make this C. Okay, so let's see how this sounds like. I will connect this to the mixer. Let's see. Okay, we have a sequence. I love the FM operator, really. It's so simple but so good. Okay, so we have one voice. Let's add another FM operator and build us another sequence. Now we have sequence B. And let's see, sequence B, let's have 5 steps. And let's start with A actually, this time. Go up to, let's say F. Then go down to D. D. A, and let's see, let's go up to G. Okay, let's see how this will sound like together with the first sequence. So again, I will connect the gate, this time from sequence B to the gate input of the FM operator, then volt per octave, and to the mixer. We will have to reset them also soon, but it sounds nice for now. Okay, let's add another FM operator. And let's see, now let's have a 3-step sequence. Something really short. And let's go really simple. Let's do D, goes down to A, goes up to D again. And let's again gate to the gate input of the oscillator, volt per octave, mixer. Yes. Okay, and now let's use another sequence. This time I will use different note length. And let's see, let's have 8-step sequence. We will start with a whole note, then let's say a quarter, half note, and then another whole note, 2 quarter notes, or quavers, and then another whole note, and then a half note, and another, no, you know what we will do? We'll do something like this. We'll have here 3 quarter notes, but they will be triplets. So we can change them to triplets by double-clicking this section here and turning this red. Oh yes, I'm excited already. This will be triplets. And after the triplets we will have another whole note, and then let's say a half note. And let's see, we will start, let's go down a bit, let's go down to D, then even further down to A, then jump up to F, and then to B flat. Let's go to B flat, and then to D. So now B flat, no, not D, let's go B flat, F, G, and then A. So the whole note will be A, and then this will be C. Okay, let's see how this sounds like. I have no idea. So gate, again, oscillator, the oscillator, volt per octave. Let's see that my face is not interrupting here. I will zoom out a bit. This is better. Now this will go to the mixer. And let's reset everything and set a longer decay time. Very nice. Something here. No, it's okay. So now what I want to do, I want to modulate the feedback amount so they will all go out and come in the mix, let's say, something like this. And there will be a lot of movement. So let's use the 8FO from Bog Audio, of course. Oscillator with different phases, 8 different phases. I use it a lot in my videos, so maybe you saw it already. You know what, let's add also a scope so we can all see what it's doing. So this is the first phase of the oscillator, and this oscillator is also an LFO mode, and we will use this as an LFO. So this is the first phase. If I take the second output, you can see that it's a bit out of phase, or has a different phase than the first output. And if I go further down the line, you can see that the phase is drifting more and more. So we have 8, this is really nice, 8 different phases of the same oscillator, which is amazing. So let's delete the scope, let's turn this to slow mode. So it's an LFO, it's low frequency oscillator, offset all the way up. So we have a unipolar. Why do I delete the scope all the time? Let me show you this, what I mean by unipolar and bipolar again. So now it's moving, or its range is between -5 to +5 volts. If I push the offset all the way up, we have a unipolar signal, in this case 0 to +10 volts, and this is what I want. So first of all, what we will do, let's turn also the frequency a bit down. Let's take the first oscillator, let's take its feedback amount and raise it to the point that we say, okay, this will be the maximum. Somewhere here, and then I will take the LFO, the first output, and connect it to the feedback input, and this will turn the feedback knob to an attenuator. So now we set the maximum level, and it will jump to 0, and this will be the maximum level that the LFO will arrive at. Let's do the same with the second oscillator. And skip one output of the 8FO. Third oscillator. Skip one output. Last oscillator. Skip one output. And let's listen to this for a second. Very nice. Now let's try take the first sequence and change it to staccato. We'll see if it's changing the sound, because we have already a snappy envelope. Let's do this for all sequencers actually. So it's even snappier. I don't know. I don't have to change all the steps actually, but let's do this. Yeah, I think it was redundant, but we gave it a shot. So, now, what shall we do now? We can add a nice bass to it, like a drony bass, or maybe 2 notes. This is a nice sequence. Okay, anyway, I will save this, we will continue, this is not the end yet. I will save this, there will be a link in the description to this patch if you want to download it. If this patch will be nice, we will speak about this later maybe. So let's now add a nice bass sound. A nice bass, let's see. Okay, so for the bass I will use the palm loop oscillator from 21 kHz. This is a killer a killer bass module actually, because if you take a look here down where the outputs are, we have 2 rows. The first row will be 1 octave higher than the second row, or the second row will be 1 octave lower than the first row, which means that we will have also a sub octave, and this is adding lots of bass. And this is really nice. Now I know already, I have a feeling that I will add also a kick to all of this. So I think I will send the bass sound already through a VCA, so maybe later we can sidechain it. So let's see, let's add a VCA. I will use the one from AS modules. And I need, or I want actually also a filter, so let's use tangents. Very nice. So let's do this way. First tangents and then the VCA. So first of all, you take a sawtooth wave to the low pass input of tangents, from there to the VCA. Let's raise the resonance a bit, lower the cutoff, lower the oscillator 1 octave. And then we will take a sine wave directly to the VCA. Now I will connect, no, first of all we have to tune this also to D, because we are in the scale of D. So now this is C, we can change the course 2 semitones up, so now we're on D, C, C sharp and then D. Okay, now we'll connect the sawtooth wave from the VCA to the mixer. Let's have a listen. Yeah. This is our sawtooth wave. Now I will connect a sine wave, but I want a different channel after the reverb. I don't want a sine wave, the sub frequencies to go through the reverb. I want them to stay in the middle, in the center of the mix, let's say. So I will add a mono channel. Let's add already 2, because I know there will come a kick later. And I will make the connections through the mono channels here. It's clipping also a bit. Let's turn this down. Okay, I can turn the volume here. Oh yes, oh yeah, okay. So we have the sawtooth wave. Now let's connect the sine wave. If you have a pair of headphones available, put them on and take a listen to the nice bass we get. Okay, so sine wave is going to the mixer. Ready? Here it goes. Oh baby. Yes. Yes. So we have a bass. Now let's try to see if you want to sequence this bass a bit. Maybe later we will use another sequencer even for other stuff. But first of all, let's add. We will make it simple. Let's add constants from ML. I use this model a lot, and we will send the positive 7 semitones. So constants will output a constant voltage. In this case, it will be in steps of semitones. So we have negative and positive. Let's take the positive 7 semitones, so it will raise the pitch of the oscillator by 7 semitones, and let's see how this sounds like. Ready? What do you say? Let's do this. So we'll need a sequential switch, and the sequential switch will be our sequencer. It will act as our sequencer. A sequential switch, or a sequential switch, is a sequencer all in all at the end of the day. And what we will do is as follows. We will take the positive 7 volts, send it to the second step of the sequence of the switch. We will set the switch to 2 steps. We will send the reset also to the clock, or receive the reset also from the clock actually. So we can reset everything. And let's set a much slower clock, but maybe something that doesn't sit really right. So maybe like divided by 9 or by 7. No, let's try 9. Something it will not always sit together. Something more organic maybe. And let's send this clock, the divided by 9 clock. We will send this to the clock input of the sequential switch. Let's reset everything. Okay. And now let's send the output from the sequential switch. Okay, I see already here from the lights that divided by 9 is much too quick. I need something slower. So let's choose something 19 maybe. 19, why not? And reset this again. And now let's send the output from the switch to the volt per octave input of the oscillator. And let's wait for it. Yep. Yes. This is still a bit too quick for me. Let's divide it by 29 and reset. 29, why not? Let's add some drive. Okay. And now let's use the ADSR module, the normal ADSR module. Let's put this after the filter, because I'm going to use this ADSR module to modulate the cutoff point of the filter every time there is a change in pitch for the bass. And also the cutoff point, or the cutoff, will open, and we will make this slowly. So let's use a longer attack and no sustain, and make this also decay and release a bit longer. And let's use the same clock that we are triggering the switch to trigger the ADSR, and the output from the ADSR will go to the cutoff point CV input. yes. You see, it's not really sitting right because it's divided by 29. So it's not really sitting. Very nice. Okay, now what shall we do now? Shall we add the kick already? No, I want to use another sequencer. So I will just duplicate this sequencer. And what I will do... Oh, I think I found a bug. Can be because I've duplicated the sequencer, but something is missing. The number of steps or the sequence length was not copied with the sequencer, which is not so bad, but that's the way it is. What shall we do with this now? Let's use two sequencers. So I will change the mode here to green. And what we will do, we will set this to loop 3 times. So each... Oh, now it changed? No, still not. Something weird happened here. Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe it changed, but just because I've switched this. Never mind. Okay, so I will use 2 sequencers. One will be 10-step sequence like we see here. The other one will be 15 steps. And they will loop, each one of them will loop 3 times. And when the one is ending its loop, it will trigger the other sequence. So we will make something like this. We will take the loop end output from sequence A to trigger the run function of sequence C, because we have 2 sequencers, A and C. You can see also the light here is lit. And we will take the loop end and run sequence number A. But first of all, what we have to do, we have to trigger the sequence. What I will do here first, before I will reset the note length. And I will connect the clock. We will use the same clock, the multiplied by 4 clock, to run this sequencer also, and also the reset. Where is the reset? Here. This is a sequencer A, sequencer or sequence C. So now, first of all, we have to run sequence A. It will start running, and then while it's running, we will connect the loop end of sequence C to run sequence A. So sequence A will loop 3 times. And then it will trigger sequence C that will also loop 3 times, and this will trigger sequence A, and it will just continue like this looping. And we will see what we will do with it. Let's save it again. So first of all, let's trigger this. So I will just connect the clock, never mind which clock now, to the run of sequence A. And while it's running, we will have to connect the loop end of D to the start to run A. It's running, it's connected, 3 times looping. Now C, 3 times looping, 1, 2, 3. Now, oh, I connected the wrong, I connected the wrong output again. A is running now from C to A. A 3 times, C, 1, 2, 3, and then A again. You see, now it's repeating itself. So we have 3 times A, 3 times C, 3 times A, 3 times C. Okay, and let's see, what shall we do with this? Which oscillator shall we use? I don't know. Let's see, what shall we use? I know, let's use the even 3 from Squinky Labs, which are 3 even VCOs in one module, which is always good. The even VCO is an amazing oscillator, and here we have 3 of them, so why not? And let's do something like this. First of all, let's take... Okay, I want to use both sequencers on the same oscillator. So what we need, or what I want, let's say, is some sort of mixer. So I can mix A and C. Actually, it's not mixing them because they're not happening in the same time. All what I want to do is to combine them, let's say, So they will come out of the same output. So now they are coming out of two outputs. I want them to come out of one output. There are a few ways we can do this: mixer, combiner, or logic. Even we can use an OR logic, which means that when sequence A is playing or when sequence C is playing, it will come out of the output. But let's for this use UMix, which is a unity mixer from Bog Audio. Again, we will not really mix the signals because they are not happening in the same time, but we can combine them and send them out for the same output. So let's take the volt per octave output of A to the UMix and of, let's do this. Okay, now we can see this. So again, volt per octave output of A to UMix, volt per octave output of C to UMix, and from UMix to the volt per octave input of the even VCO. Very nice. And now let's do this. Boom. Ooh. That's a nice idea. That's a nice idea. What shall we do here then for this? Let's use... Okay. My mind is... I will use a mixer, 4-channel mixer, and I will send all 3 oscillators to this mixer. Let's first of all tune them, so I will need to have the note D, because again we are on the scale of D. Oh, although here I'm quantized. No, I don't need to change this to D, I can stay on C. What I want to do is the first oscillator I will take down 1 octave. Actually, all of them I will take both. The first 2 oscillators I will take down 1 octave. Let's just change here the volumes also on the mixer. Okay, so the first oscillator will go to the mixer, we will pan it. No, we will leave it in the center. The second oscillator will be perfect fifth above. And the third oscillator will be an octave above. And the second and third oscillator will pan hard left and hard right. And let's go from there. AS, tremolo stereo effects. This is what I wanted. This maybe not. So let's send this from the mixer to the tremolo, from tremolo to the main mixer, and pan this hard left and hard right. Something doesn't sit so right. Maybe I do have to tune this. Let's see, let's first reset everything. Okay. And now, let's listen just to this. Something doesn't sit right here. Maybe the first... Something doesn't sit right here. Okay, I will multiply the clock for this here by 8. So let's take it out from the main clock and send it to a clock multiplied by 8. So it's even quicker. And what I will do, that's a nice trick. What I will do, I will send everything here before the tremolo, I will send it to another reverb. Let's take this here up. Of course it will be plateau. So I will send this to a reverb, and I will take the dry signal a bit down, a bit the low down, or the low frequencies, modulation a bit, modulation depth a bit up. And let's see how this sounds like first, before the tremolo. Maybe even less dry. Let's change it back to sine waves. See if we can do something with it. So we have a sort of an atmosphere. We will send this to the tremolo. I think something went wrong with the notes, but never mind. Let's mute everything. I want to listen just to this. And the bass also we can mute. Okay, so let's take a VCA and send another LFO, we have another output here, to the VCA so we can control its range. Take the VCA, close it a bit, and send this to the speed CV input of the tremolo. And we will modulate the speed amount. And let's see how it sounds like with everything else. Okay, so it's subtle. It's subtle, but it's there. Oh, the bass. Yes. By the way, what I didn't tell you about the Even 3 is that when you connect something to the volt per octave input of the first oscillator, it will be normalized to all the other oscillators also, so all of them receive the same CV input, the same voltage, the same pitch information. And now let's add a kick. So first of all, what I want to do is create some sort of side chaining to the bass. So we will use the DADSR from Bog Audio. Now this module is quite special because it has an inverted output. I will add another scope to show you what I mean. First of all, let's trigger it with the clock. We will trigger it with the main clock because I want the kick to be on the beat, let's say. And now we will send the envelope output to the scope. And what I want a really quick attack, because I want, as soon as the kick drum plays, I wanted the volume of the bass will go down. I don't need any sustain, and the decay and the release we can set later with the kick. But what happens here, you can see whenever it gets a trigger, first of all, of course, it's an envelope. What it's doing, it's going up. So the bass will go up in volume with the kick. This is not what I want. I want the bass to go down and then gradually go up again. So what I need is an inverted version of this envelope. And here in this module we have an inverted output, which will look like this. You can see the volume will go down first and then it will gradually go up, and this is exactly what we want. So let's use this inverted envelope to modulate the VCA of the bass that we set it up before. Let's listen just to the bass for a second. I will mute. You can hear it already. You can hear it. It's pumping. Take the decay a bit down. Yeah. Now we can add the kick. I will add Knock from Volt. Knock is in the Compacts bundle of Volt. Amazing bass drum module. Let's add a kick. Let's add a kick. But first of all, I want all the other voices also. Let's take the volume of the kick channel a bit down. And we will trigger the kick with the same trigger we're triggering the envelope for the sidechain. Let's put this here. Ready? Sequencer, this even VCO, the even 3 is a bit out of tune, I guess, or something. I don't know, something is off there, but it creates this nice atmosphere actually. Actually, what we can also do I have 2 more channels free? No, I have 1. So we will add another stereo channel after the mixer and route everything together. And what I can do, or we can do, we can add also clouds to add even more atmosphere. And we will take, let's see, we will take clouds, mutable instruments or texture synthesizer from audible instruments. We will use the granular mode. Let's set the wet all the way up, so we get just the wet signal spread all the way up, so it's nice and spreaded in the stereo field. Feedback, just a bit more feedback. And reverb, maybe to 3 o'clock, something there. Texture all the way up, so it's nice and smeared. The size of the grains we will take also up. If you want, I have a video. I think I will write this down. I have a pen here. Clouds. I have a video. I will put a link in the description to the video or videos I made about clouds. Really interesting module. And anyway, let's send the output. You know what I will do? I will send this output here. This is a mix output from the even VCO. I have here already 50 minutes almost. So this I will send to the even, to clouds, and we will mix a few signals together now, the few oscillators. Very nice. This will go to clouds. Let's take the input gain a bit up. Let's even make this lo-fi, so we'll raise the size of the buffer, which means that we have lower quality. And let's send this to the mixer. We have here a stereo channel. Now, to the right, if I turn the density to the right, the grains will be generated randomly. To the left, they will be generated not randomly, so straight, but I want them to be generated randomly, so I'll turn it to the right a bit. You hear it? Very nice. Okay, Scorovnik it's a nice, interesting sequencer. Especially this end of loop. Outputs are also interesting. And there are triplets and dotted notes and note length, which is really cool. Just be careful when you duplicate it. Maybe it's better not to duplicate it for now, maybe just add a new one. Like you've seen, there are a few things going on there, but we've overcome it. Very cool. So I think that's it for today. Guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like always, there will be a link in the description to this patch. I think the only paid module I've used is Knock, and it's a beautiful module. You should try it out. And that's it, guys. Thank you. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe and hit the bell. And have a good one.